All right, today we are jumping right to the top, to the very pinnacle of the tree of life. We're going to build a practical guide to 3 of the most powerful and, honestly, most radical forces in Sephirotic mysticism, the Emissaries of Kether. And look, these aren't just some abstract ideas, they are actual agents of deep transformative change. So, here's our game plan. We're going to start at the source, Kether itself. Then we'll meet each of these 3 emissaries one by one, and finally we'll see how they all work together in this incredible sequence that leads to total liberation. But before we get into the weeds, I want you to think about something. Have you ever had that feeling? You know, the one where you've achieved something, you're at the top of your game, but you feel completely and utterly stuck? It's a weird kind of prison, right? Being trapped not by your failures, but by your own success. Well, that is exactly the kind of trap these emissaries are designed to shatter.
Okay, first things first. To understand what these emissaries do, we need to know where they operate. And that means we have to start at the very top, with Kether, also known as the crown. This is the highest Sephirah, the absolute origin point of everything in this system. The best way to think of Kether is like the universe's ultimate source code. It's a realm of pure, raw, undifferentiated potential. The source material calls it a frequency that's way beyond what our normal minds can grasp. But, and this is the cool part, it's a state we can actually tap into. It's the beginning of everything. So within this supreme high-frequency realm, you have these agents. They're not just passive energies, they are active emissaries, and they have a very specific job to do as a team. Collectively, these emissaries are known as the creators. And get this, their whole job is to prevent things from getting too comfortable. They exist to push away anything that's become too finished, too perfect, and because of that, totally stagnant. Their mission is to smash any kind of fixation and just constantly inject new, raw potential into reality. They're all about making sure evolution never ever stops. This chart right here is basically our cheat sheet. It gives us a fantastic overview of the whole team. You've got Kadia, the guide, who dissolves the ego's armor. Then there's Tavi, the destroyer who just collapses our mental illusions. And finally, Rashti, the surgeon, who performs precision operations on our thought patterns. So, let's break each one down. All right, let's start with our first creator, Kadia. This one deals with the most basic prison we all build for ourselves, the one made of fear and all that emotional armor we carry around. In the source material, Kadia is called the universal dissolver of fixations. I love that. Its whole function is to break down the emotional walls, that protective shell of the ego that we build up over a lifetime of fear and bad experiences. So how does it work? Well, it doesn't just chip away at your defenses, it dissolves them completely, basically dropping your consciousness into a state that's beyond fear. The analogy here is just perfect. Kadia is like a spiritual defrag tool for your emotional hard drive. It clears out all those old, fragmented fears and makes space for you to actually be free. Okay, so once those emotional walls start to crumble, the process moves on to the next fortress. And this one is usually way tougher to crack. We're talking about the prison of the mind. And this is the domain of our second emissary, Tavi. Tavi's title is the Master of Quantum Collapse of Illusions. This emissary is a specialist. Its target? The ego's most powerful and tricky defense. Our own rational mind, our pride in what we think we know. Tavi's job is to show us just how limited our logic really is. Seriously, think of Tavi as a forced hard reboot for your consciousness. Its whole purpose is to trigger a total meltdown of your rigid mental models, burning away all your favorite beliefs until there's nothing left but this. Ringing silence. And the goal? To get you back to the factory settings of pure spirit, without all the baggage of intellectual ideas. And now we get to the final, and maybe the most subtle prison of all. What happens when you've actually succeeded? When you've built something you think is perfect? Well, that perfection can become its own cage. And this is where our third emissary, Rati, steps in. The source describes Rashti as the one who surgically opens up this perfection when it crystallizes into a prison. Rashti isn't targeting your fears or your intellect. Its target is your attachment to your own success, your masterpiece, right at the moment it stops growing and becomes a beautiful, lifeless monument. And this just illustrates Rashti's role perfectly. If Kadia is a solvent and Tavi is a total system reboot,
Then Rafty is a spiritual surgeon with a scalpel. The work is incredibly precise. It performs radical surgery on the thought patterns that keep you locked into your success. It cuts away that fixation on a perfect but dead result, all to restore the living, breathing flow of creation. Now, here's the really crucial part. These three forces aren't just acting randomly. They work together in a very specific and powerful sequence, which the source material calls the cascade of liberation. So this cascade unfolds in three clear stages. Step 1. Kehedia's dissipation melts down your old emotional structures. Step 2. Tavi's collapse shatters your intellectual illusions. And finally, Step 3. Rothy's excision surgically frees you from the prison of your own finished work. It's nothing less than a complete spiritual overhaul. The way they work together, their synergy, is the key to this whole thing. See, Kedia clears the path, taking down the outer walls. That opens the door for Tavi to get to the core and just hit the reset button on the mind. And Tavi's total reboot doesn't just leave an empty space, it creates the perfect, clean slate for Rahadi's healing, liberating impulse to come in and build something totally new and alive. And all of this leaves us with one final, big question to take away. Looking at your own life right now, your successes, your achievements, which one of them has become so complete, so perfect, that it's now just a beautiful prison? What static masterpiece is it time to break open, to let some new life in?